So basketball has become pretty much a worldwide game right now. No longer is it 99% of the NBA American and Canadian. There's more and more people from other countries. The current Rookie of the Year, well, the guy's more than likely going to be Rookie of the Year, is from Slovenia and played most of the way up through Spain. Joelle Embiid, who may be the best big man in basketball, is from Cameroon. And every year we're seeing more and more international players coming into the NBA and making a big impact. A lot of that is because they've seen guys playing before them. For the Eastern Europeans, there's been superstars from that area for years, which is why you've seen so many of them succeed in the NBA. However, for guys like Joelle Embiid, for example, who's from Cameroon, until Luka Mute made the NBA, there was nobody, as far as I know, from that country in it. And Joelle Embiid was only picked up at a camp ran by Mute and was sent to America from that. So who knows, if it wasn't for someone from Cameroon making the NBA before Embiid, he may still be in Cameroon right now. As you guys pretty much all know, and if you're not subscribed to the channel, you could hear from the accent, I'm from Ireland, which is a country that has pretty much no basketball history. Yes, we had a brief period in the 80s where pretty much everyone watched basketball. We had guys like Kelvin Troy over, Diora Marsh, and NBA champion Mario Elie playing over here, but since then it's kind of not been the best standard of basketball. We've had a few guys play for our national team that were NBA players. The only one in my lifetime, Pat Burke, who, while he did play for the Irish national team at a stage that I could remember, back when I would have been 9-10 years old, and I remember watching him, he never played underage basketball in Ireland, so not a lot of people could have really related to that. However, recently enough in Ireland, things have changed. Our senior national team didn't exist between 2009 and 2016, and you might see this as a time where the standard of basketball is going to drop heavily, and to a lot of people looking from the outside, they may say it did. But I genuinely think there's more talent than ever in Irish basketball. When I would have been 13, 14 years old, I don't even think there was anyone playing college basketball in the States, or none that I could think of off the top of my head. However, if you look at it right now, there's John Carroll, who's one of the best players in the entire America East Conference. There's Jordan Blount, who's a great player for the University of Illinois, Chicago. We've got 7'2" center Cian Sullivan playing for LaSalle. And in the last 5 years, Sean Flood has gone from lighting me up in a National Cup semi-final to lighting teams up at Division 1 level for Longwood. And then on the women's side, there's Adelle Thornton, who in the last 2 years has made the NCAA tournament twice with Quinnipiac University, last year losing to UConn in the second round, and the year before making the Sweet 16. And that's only me talking about people that are playing Division 1 right now. There's guys like Matt Tracy, who's doing great at Division 2 level for Urbana, who for a while was, I think, the leading freshman scorer in the nation for any division. And there's honestly too many others to even name playing in the States right now. Whereas 10 years ago, we may have had one or two. And even back in Ireland, people who haven't made the jump across the pond. There's CJ Fulton, who at 16 years old is starting for one of the best teams in our top league, which is something I'm not sure I've ever seen before. However, the guy who, as of right now, has made the biggest impact on the perception of Irish basketball is without doubt Aidan Harris igiehon, who has been ranked as high as number 16 in the current high school class. A guy who's committed to the University of Louisville, and a guy who many believe is going to be a one and done NBA prospect. Aidan moved to America. He moved to New York when he was 13 years old, and this is something that's very, very rare for an Irish person to do. Guys like Jordan Blount and John Carroll left at an early age. I think Jordan went to England when he was 15, John went to IMG Academy when he was 16, but nobody left at 13 years old, and it's something that a lot of people, even at the time, considered to be crazy, especially moving that far away. It wasn't like he was moving to England, he was moving to New York, which was 3,000 miles away from his home. In Aidan's last year in Ireland, he was well known around people in Dublin basketball circles. He was the 12, 13-year-old that was dunking. I don't think I'd ever seen a 12-year-old dunk in a game before Aidan, and I don't think I've seen one since, and it may be another 20 years until we're seeing 12-year-olds dunking games, which Aidan was doing, which was crazy. However, at the time, he was really, really skinny. He was 6'5", maybe 6'6" at the time, but he was really skinny. He was coordinated, but he didn't have too many skills. He'd only just started playing basketball, and to be honest, he was just kind of known as that kid who could dunk, not the kid who's going to be a future NBA player. And if anyone at the time had said that, you would have been shocked, especially with the way Irish basketball is and the way kids develop. I genuinely think our system for coaching young kids in Ireland is quite good. Because as a person who would have travelled to tournaments in Europe, we can honestly compete with some of the best teams around at a young age. Like the Dublin representative team that I would have played on under 14s beat a Liège representative team where a couple of them ended up playing Euro Cup in a tournament. And then Aidan's Dublin under-14s team actually won a big enough tournament in Wands in Belgium. However, it's that age where all the elite countries in the world, including the United States, start to take basketball really, really seriously. But in Ireland, it stays just as a hobby, people playing 2-3 times a week max. There are things like the North Atlantic Basketball Academy that's been set up recently enough that may end up changing this. We don't know what's going to happen as time goes on. But in Ireland, that's the way it generally goes. And pretty much, if you're playing 2-3 times a week, no matter how physically gifted you are, it's very, very unlikely that someone's going to come all the way through in that type of a system and become an NBA player. So Aidan obviously made the jump to New York with that in mind. And his first year or so there was extremely tough. He was going to school over an hour away from where he lived, and sometimes he'd have to get up at 4 a.m. to go to workouts. Which, even though it was really tough for a 13, 14-year-old, obviously he was really homesick, but he managed to push through all that, and it made him grow up fast. And even talking to Aidan, he's pretty much as mature as you can be for an 18-year-old. And I don't think I've even mentioned anything about him on the court right now. Aidan is a 6'10 center who's basically a small ball center. He's got elite speed for a big man. At one stage, he was ranked as the number 3 center in the nation, the number 16 player in the nation in the class of 2019. He's a guy who can shoot the mid-range. He's been compared to Amare Stoudemire, and he may be the strongest player in high school basketball right now. He's a guy that has had an NBA body for the last 2 years, and the reason why a lot of people think he's going to be one and done, more so than even a lot of people that are ranked higher than him right now, as he's ranked kind of in the late 30s, low 40s in a lot of recruiting services, is just how strong he is, how he's literally NBA ready right now. And the fact that he moved out of his house at 13, he moved 3,000 miles away. He's a guy who doesn't really need to mature too much in college. However, he does kind of need to refine his game a little bit. His jumper, while not bad, does need to be worked on a little bit, especially from 3, but he does have a great mid-range shot and decent form, so he does have the potential to shoot 3s, no doubt about it. His handle for a 6'10 center is great, and he could end up being kind of a perimeter-based center, and if he does get his 3-point shot down, he could honestly be a Kenneth Faried type player with a jump shot, which would be a good NBA starter. And I honestly would not be surprised to see him go in the lottery in 2020. But more so than anything he's done over in the States, what Aidan's done for Irish basketball is crazy. Aidan could have gone over at 13, went about his business and been in the exact same position as he's in right now, and not been a role model for guys in Ireland. Yeah, he could have just been another player that went over to the States, an NBA player from Ireland, but Aidan has represented Irish basketball so well. If you guys look at his Instagram, most posts, he's got either an Irish flag around him, or he's got an Irish flag somewhere in the background. His nickname is literally the Irish Hulk. So he's basically put Irish basketball on the map. I was talking to John Collins last summer, and when I said I was Irish, he literally asked me if I knew Aidan. That's how much of an impact he's made on the game, and he's pretty much put a country that people may not have even thought played basketball on the map. And while his impact on basketball may not be seen immediately, because obviously he is only an 18-year-old, as time goes on, more and more kids are going to watch guys like Aidan. They're going to watch a lot of the other guys that are playing D1, and the guys who are going to play D1 in the future. There's going to be more and more of them. They're going to watch these guys and think, yeah, it's possible. Because unlike the guys who were playing on the men's national team, the stars from back when I was a kid, these were guys that all played underage basketball. These were guys that played for the same clubs as are around. Like Dublin Lions is a club in Clondalkin, and it's not even like it's a club with major historical relevance in Ireland. It's a club that 7 or 8 years ago would have had a couple of underage teams and would have been considered one of the weakest clubs in Dublin, maybe even Ireland. But the underage system they had, guys like Rob White, really worked on the players, and now it's seen as one of the top up-and-coming clubs, if not one of the top clubs, period, in the country, which is nuts considering where the club was a couple of years ago. So with Aidan's success, with all the other people's success going over to the States, which is something we've never had to this extent in the past, honestly, the kids in Ireland are probably looking more and more at that as an option, whereas in the past it was more so, let's just stick in Ireland and play Super League. And the more players we have going away, the more players we have playing at a better level, the better the basketball is going to get here. I have no doubt about that. While I'm not going to get ahead of myself and say that with these guys we're going to be one of the top basketball countries in the world, maybe in 50 years, if everything goes well, we could be, but that's unlikely. However, with guys like Aidan, with guys like Sean, Jordan Blount, John Carroll, Matt Tracy, Sean Jenkins, CJ Fulton, like these guys, Adam Drummonds, I'm almost running out of names, and other guys I haven't even named. guys coming through, guys still playing in the Super League right now. We could honestly get our national team back up to the level it was around 2005, where we nearly qualified for the European A Championship. And if at any stage with these guys we can get up to that level, it would be absolutely incredible, and it would be so big for basketball over here, especially since these guys are all homegrown talent. These aren't guys that just qualify for Ireland because they've got relatives in Ireland. These are guys who played for the same clubs as guys in Ireland are playing for. These are guys that were in the exact same position as kids in Ireland are in right now. And they've all managed to have extremely successful basketball careers so far, and they're only going to continue to get better. So anyway, that's the video. I was going to just talk about Aidan. We didn't want to make 2 videos about Aidan and Irish basketball, so I combined them in one. And yeah, that's the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and anyone wanting to know more about Irish basketball, this is going to be the video. So anyway, that's the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.